Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Woodman and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will talk about how to have a conversation with someone, especially after you reach out to someone and they accept your invitation to connect with you. During conversations, you say something and what you say triggers thoughts, feelings, and connections in the other person's brain. They share something back and that triggers ideas in your own head, and so on. When you talk to someone, you are not just finding things in common, you are also creating something together. You exchange thoughts, you bounce and toss ideas around, you argue and dispute things, you say yes, and you may interrupt and finish each other's sentences. You might reflect on what the other person is saying or get distracted by something you just thought of. That is what usually happens in conversations. So how do you make sure you have productive conversations with people? Let's go over some ways you can get the conversation started. 1, explain to the other person why you wanted to speak with them. 2, provide a simple plan for how the conversation can proceed. 3, ask them if this is the right agenda or if they like a different approach. Remember, the way you start a conversation will depend on who you are meeting and what you want to talk about with them. Let's go over some examples. If you are searching for a new job, you can say, I have spent 15 years in the same position at this organization and I would like to have a change in my career priorities. I want to take on a new job that will take on a new leadership role and challenge myself to work. You have spent a few years in this type of leadership position I am seeking. I would love to listen to your thoughts and advice on how I should apply for this new leadership role and what kind of work is expected from me. If you are relocating and want to network with people in your community, you can say, I am going to move to a new city because I accepted a new job there, but I still want to be involved in the community outside of work. I have heard you have some connections in the city I will be moving to. Specifically, I'm looking to do community advocacy work around housing development. Do you know any individuals who are housing development advocates? If you are learning more about an organization, you could say, I am looking to register more community members to vote so they can vote in the next election. I noticed that your organization has been doing voter education work for the past couple of decades that has involved voter registration. Would you be able to tell me what voting activities you have done so far and how I could get involved in them? If you want advice on improving your existing work or career, you could say, I have been doing event planning for a few months, but I have been struggling with promoting events. I've noticed that you organize events for several years and you mobilize an average of 100 people to your events. Would you be able to give me advice on how to promote and attract more people to my events? These are some examples of getting a conversation started. It is simply about explaining what you do, why you need help, and what you are asking the other person to do. Let's proceed with what you can do during a conversation. 1, listen more than you talk. Don't assume you have to fill silent patches. The other person may just be thinking about what to say next. If you're an extrovert, you might have to remind yourself to keep listening. 2, you can bounce around, but bring it back to the main point. Natural conversations can move from topic to topic, work, life, things you are both observing, physical sensations, etc. But remember to keep going back to the main reason both of you are having the conversation. You can say, that moment was funny and interesting. Now, I want to go back to what we talked about before in regards of yada, yada, yada. 3, don't hesitate to mix your personal and work lives. These are not really separate since we work all the time and live all the time. Some people find it much easier to talk about things. Others are more comfortable in work matters. Some are open about both. You just have to experiment with each person you talk to because they could either be more or less open to talking about one of 2 things. Still, it helps reveal another side of who you are. 4, ask if there is anything else the 2 of you need to talk about. Even if you finish talking about your main point, there could still be some other questions you ask the other person. You should not see this as unnecessarily extending the conversation, but rather give the two of you a chance to make sure you have said everything you needed to say to each other. For example, you could ask what other organizations or community leaders you should connect with, what other advice you should know about before you do a certain thing, etc. Let's proceed with how to end a conversation. 1, stay aware of the time. This is a basic courtesy. You should check with the person if they have to be somewhere else in a certain amount of time. For example, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, etc. If they have to leave at a certain time, then you must talk about what you need to talk about in that given time period. This is so the other person is not late to their next meeting or event. If the other person is not in a rush and is flexible, then you have some breathing room to extensively talk about certain things. Still, it does not mean you have to talk to that person for a super long time. If the conversation feels like it should conclude, then you need to conclude it. 2, summarize what you got out of the conversation. When you are ready to wrap the conversation up, go through a couple of highlights of what you two talked about so you two are on the same page. Doing this shows you have been listening, and it will be interesting for them to hear what you are taking away from the conversation. 3, clarify any action steps. This reminds both of you about any commitments you to make on completing a task and reinforces any offers of help. 4, send a thank you message. We usually say thank you immediately when we say goodbye to the person. If you want to deepen your connection with the person, you should send a thank you email, text, or note. It does not have to be long, just polite, correctly spelled, and capable of expressing appreciation. No matter what happens, you should express your thanks because they share their time, energy, and honesty with you. Those are the ways to have productive conversations with people. It's about knowing how to start a conversation, what to say during the conversation, and how to end the conversation. The last thing I will talk about is having good manners. Manners are important. They are not hard to implement. They are a socially understood way of communicating mutual respect. Manners are especially crucial when you don't know a person very well. Here are some ways to have good manners in a conversation. 1, proofread your communications. When you reach out to people, proofread your messages to make sure you have no typos. If you are not good at proofreading, ask someone to check your messages before you send them. 2, don't be late to your meeting. If you are going to be late, even 2 minutes, message the person with that information. This is especially important the first time you meet someone. Still, you should not make this a habit. 3, mute and put away your electronics. You are either paying attention to the other person or to your phone, not both. Do not hold your phone in your hand. Do not put it on the table in front of you, and don't leave it in an open position in a bag thinking that you can consult it without detection. If your phone rings or goes off during the conversation, reach over to turn it off without looking at what the message is. If you need to be available for some type of call, explain that at the beginning of the meeting. It should only be because that call is mandatory. Also, never walk into any meeting with headphones or earbuds in your ears. 4, be deliberate about how you dress. Your meeting could be casual or professional, so you want to dress appropriately for that kind of meeting. If it's a jeans and t-shirt culture, wear clean jeans and a nice t-shirt. If they wear a suit, wear a suit. Either way, you are showing that you are preparing with intention, not just rolling out of bed. 5, match their standing and sitting. If they are standing when you come in, don't sit down until they do. If someone comes into the office and they stand up, then you stand up as well. 6, send a thank you note. As I said before, it shows you are respecting the other person's time even after you have gotten or not gotten what you wanted. In conclusion, having productive conversations is not about saying the perfect words. It is about being intentional, respectful, and genuinely curious about the other person. When you clearly explain your purpose, listen more than you speak. Stay mindful of time and follow up with gratitude. You turn simple interactions into meaningful connections. Also, incorporating strong manners with your communication habits shows others that you value their time, ideas, and experiences. All in all, great conversations do not just exchange information, they build trust and open doors to new opportunities for growth, collaboration, and lasting relationships. In the next video, we will talk about how to talk about yourself to people. Until then, Please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on the post notifications so you will be notified when I post my next video. I appreciate your support. Remember, you are powerful, you are capable, and you are the change maker our society needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you soon.